So today, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just to businesses that don't have time. I want to speak directly with small business owners, medium business owners, large business, but business owners who do not have time in this ever-changing world of marketing. What that means, what they need to be aware of, who do they listen to? Welcome to the Marketing Mirror Podcast, where we help guide and navigate you through the ever-changing world of marketing. So, no smoke and mirrors here, just the unfiltered truth served with a side of wit. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Marketing Mirror Podcast. My name is Matt Bork, and I am one of the partners and chief listening officers at Search and Rescue Marketing Agency. And I am joined with the absolutely brilliant and very intelligent with those glasses on, Ali Matos. How are you doing today, Ali?
Thank you. I'm feeling very intelligent with these glasses.
Thank you. I'm glad that we both decided to wear glasses because it takes our knowledge and wisdom level just up a little bit of a notch.
Always.
I'm always appreciative that you join me and share this time with me because I love the way that you see the world, the way that you view the world and hear things. And so today, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just to businesses that don't have time. I want to speak directly with small business owners, medium business owners, large business, but business owners who do not have time in this ever-changing world of marketing. What that means, what they need to be aware of, who do they listen to? That's the biggest thing. This is the reason why this has come up is because it's something that I hear quite a bit is, I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, but I love that we're able to share our thoughts, our knowledge, our wisdom, our insights when we're on location, filming, doing video, strategies, whatever it may be, whether it be teaching. And so people tend to get a chance to pick my brain, to pick your brain. And so what I'll do is I'm going to start, because if you have any questions, just jump in and ask me the questions of why or whatever it may be. But I will share that I am somebody who absolutely loves to dive into everything and all things marketing, social media marketing, digital marketing, ads, brand strategy. And I like to do big deep dives into it. And I like to find out as much information as possible. I'm an absolute Reddit junkie. So I spend a lot of time on Reddit searching through everything that's relevant in our industry, things that are coming up. And so it got me thinking a lot about business owners because I had just previously mentioned, people will say, well, what do I know where do I know to even look? Who do I know to trust? Somebody's telling me to do this. An ad popped up and it said, do these 3 things and you're going to see your ads increase in like revenue, and it's not working. And so I'll start by saying that to me, that it is a tough one. It's really, really a tough one. And I think it's a tough one because you and I have even seen where I've been with a team and the loud charisma wins. And so sometimes when you're sitting there in your team, and if your team is small, then you usually, I'm hoping, will have some level of trust in your team. But if someone is saying something, saying, hey, listen, this is what we should be doing, and you don't know as a business owner, then you will trust that person. So when the question comes back, well, who do you listen to? A lot of times it's who you're most comfortable with, who you feel like you have a level of trust. But then you're really trusting that that person has done the work, put in the effort, and actually knows what they're talking about. And in my opinion, sometimes in life, that loud charisma is not necessarily the one that has the right facts. They may have that loud charisma, but the quiet characteristics, sometimes that's the person you may want to turn to and say, well, what do you think? I'm going to give you just a little example of, I remember once in a strategy, this company was about to make decisions on spending thousands and thousands of dollars on ads. And the loud charisma was sharing that the reason why we're going to do this and we're going to build this entire strategy around these particular posts is because they're being engaged the most. And so all it took was for me to sit down and just listen to as they were speaking and then to start doing a little bit of research. And I knew what to research because that's my job. And I've invested a lot of time in really understanding how to do the deep dives into what the data is telling us. And data is from the past, but it helps us to make decisions for the future. So I kind of like consider it like connecting the dots in a line so that we know where we can hopefully go. And so when I started looking at the comments and the engagement of what this person was sharing with this business, that this is why we need to spend $1,000 pushing these things, turns out that everything that they were talking about was all the internal team speaking in all of their posts. So they were the ones engaging and responding to ads. They were the ones responding like, this is the business that we're talking with. This is their employees And they're the ones that are speaking so much, and they're liking, and they're doing this, and they're talking about stuff. And it's all, if you actually go take time and look what was being engaged, it was completely irrelevant. There was no target audience being like doing any sort of impressions, likes, engagement, commenting, even clicks, watching click-through rates. There's none of that. It was just strictly their internal team. And I was like, listen, it's amazing how this person with this loud charisma was winning, and this business owner was about to make decisions and spend thousands of dollars based off the wrong information. I've been rambling for a while now. Is there anything that jumps out? That
No. I love that you shared that. I totally agree. I think this is a conversation we've had a lot at Search and Rescue. Is one of the things that we love to do is to listen. We listen to our community. We listen to our clients. It's important. We've talked about this before. It's important to talk, with people, not at people. When we talk about research, if I'm a business owner and because the world is so loud right now, it's so noisy, and every 5 seconds you're talking about, like marketing keeps popping up, and this is what you need to do, and this is how you go viral, and blah, blah, blah. And as a business owner, that's really overwhelming to just hear a million different things of how you're supposed to do it. For you, how do you, because I know that you love researching, how do you absorb, take me through how, which websites are you going to? How do you know that it's legit? And how do you kind of take what you need and get rid of the extra noise?
That's a good question. So I do understand that it's incredibly challenging. And I think that's why I am, why I get excited to be able to kind of filter it through for our target audience, for the people that we work with and the people that we want to work with, and to be able to help and teach them. So it's listen, let me help lighten that load to that small business owner that's feeling overwhelmed, that doesn't know what is important. Let me help lighten the load by sharing with you, hey, just give this a try. And so you're right. Listening is the number one thing. And that's the first thing that my wife has taught me. She's unbelievable at it. And so what I do is I listen, but I listen intently to everything that I'm taking in. So I do a lot of courses. I take as many courses as I can, listen to a lot of relevant podcasts. I'm a Reddit junkie, so I'm all over Reddit as well. I read a lot of articles. And what I start to do is I start to formulate from that listening. I'm listening to not just what's being said, but I'm listening to how it's being said, who it's being said to, who they're speaking with. Is it relevant to this person? If it is, then let's bank that little piece of information over there. I'm also looking at if the commonality. So I'm looking at, hang on a second, this has been referenced 10 times. And when I say 10 times, sometimes that 10 times happens over 6 months, over a year, but I have a great memory. So I'm able to do it. And I also write a lot of stuff down. So I'm able to go, okay, listen, this is being mentioned 10 times. And one of the things that I will say is that I'm very active in speaking with also people, in our industry around the world, because I realize in Canada, which is where we're located, we tend to, a lot of adjustments that are being made to social media platforms, it sort of happens here later. Even right now, I've spent so much time even looking into things like Google Bard and all these different things, which aren't even available in Canada yet, but through the magical powers of VPN blockers and you name it, you're able to access those things. But I first heard about the power of them long time ago, because it was already being rolled out in parts of Europe and in Asia. And so people there who were in the industry were talking about the power and how it was able to help them in certain little areas. And so that curiosity constantly leads me to looking at, what other things are being rolled out on social media platforms like Instagram? So Instagram's going through some big changes in Europe. And then what are those things? And that's going to come down the pipeline. So if we at Search and Rescue Marketing Agency then can share, hey, this is coming, so let's be prepared for this. And let's realize that if we do these things, you're going to watch your community build, a real community build. They're going to be engaged. They're going to want to see the information, because there was lots of times where even the littlest choice could that you were making as your content could take it from being seen on your target audience's feed, your community's feed, to not being seen. And I remember learning about what was actually going on right now in Asia and being, in Europe. And it was let's start implementing that now so we stay in the feeds, so we're not lost. Because I just feel absolutely terrible for some businesses that I understand how difficult as a business owner it is to stay on top of everything that's changing, and it changes fast. So I'm also a part of these amazing, I got these connections through Reddit. So shout out to Reddit, because you've been a huge help. But I got some connections with some amazing email lists from people that own agencies that work in the same position that I do. That was listen, why don't we collaborate, which we've talked about on a previous podcast, but collaborate together and start sharing, hey, this is what's actually happening in our world. And this is the changes that have just been rolled out this last week alone. And I'm not kidding. I get probably 4 or 5 emails a week from different newsletters like this. And then I listen to each, I research each, I look at how this can help grow our clients, our target audience, our businesses, take them to where they would love to be. Because a lot of times they don't even know where they'd like to be. So this also helps. And I do feel very, very blessed that I was able to, also like, I just feel blessed that I'm able to like have the time to do it as well. Right. I think that's one of the big things is that, when I talk to people, they'll ask, well, how do you find time for this? And part of it is, I'll ask, like, a lot of people, I say, well, how do you have time for your after hours curriculum? Like, your, whatever it be, like if you want to go play sports or do whatever you want to do, it's like, if it means something to you, you make time for it. And so for me, I've always loved helping people, genuinely loved helping people. Even when I don't get paid for it, I love helping people. And so this is just, to me, part of being refined. Like I remember when I first started skateboarding, that I went out with the guys to skateboard. I really didn't know much of what I was doing. And I watched one guy do an ollie off a curb, and it was so effortless. And I thought, all right, that's it. I'm never coming skating again until I know how to do that ollie, because it's the basis of every trick. And I went home, and for the next like 2 days, I remember in our garage just practicing till I landed it. Not just once, because I felt that was a fluke. I had to be able to do it every time. Right. And then 3 days later, we went back skateboarding together, and they're like, I remember all my buddies being like saying, even at times, a couple of my buddies said they were jealous because things came so naturally to me. And I was like, I just spent 2 full, like 12-hour days in our garage learning how to do it so that I could move on and excel at the next one, because I knew the value that it would take to invest this time so that I could be better for the next one. And so I kind of just take that same mentality when it comes to learning about this industry, is that, after I put my little girls to bed, like I'll admit that I'll read articles and I'll sit and I'll watch videos, and I'm amazed at how many videos I've watched over and over of little tips and tricks and techniques and this. But when I see them then being implemented for our clients and see the success that they're finding, to me, it's like, that's why I do it, is because we genuinely at Search and Rescue Marketing Agency absolutely love helping. And so, again, going back to who do you listen to? I'll just say, if you don't have anybody that you can trust and that you can listen to on your team, then reach out to us, because we have an amazing team of people that is curious. We are brave. We love to help. We are very authentic. We're very honest. If we don't know, we will say, I don't know. And we will go finish that sentence by saying, I'll do my very, very best to find out with you, and I will get back in touch with you with an answer, or I will connect you with somebody that does have that answer for you, so that your ads aren't falling flat, so that your website is getting conversions, so that your social media is working, that there is a strategy, that we're reading that. And so if you are in a position where you do have a team, and I know, Ali, you and I have been a part of this, where we sat in rooms where that loud person, what do you do? And I think as a leader, definitely want to say that's where practicing that bravery. And by bravery, I mean saying, okay, well, do you mind just giving me a little, like, where you found that information, just to be able to back it up? So if we are going to make a decision, that we know it's based in, and then get them to do a little bit of research. So it's not just one website that, again, I could go into the neuroscience, the unconscious bias, all of those things. And a lot of people will hear one little tagline on Apple News, and then they'll say, hey, like, this is what we need to do. And it's like, that's one article. You can't just do one article. You need to do your research to find out. So I would definitely suggest that you just communicate a little bit more and ask, well, where are you hearing this? I'm not trying to come like at you. I'm just saying, I actually do want to see this succeed. So if you could just give me a little bit, like, explain to me like I'm 5, and walk me through why this is a good decision before we start spending a lot of money on it. If you are a small business that you do not have a team, you are the only person running it, and you do not know where to actually start, what to even look for, you have no idea, then that's why we're here. And to be honest, just reach out to us, however it may be, on any one of the social platforms. And like, we'll help. Absolutely, we'll help.
Absolutely. And I wanted to say before we wrap this one up, so if let's say I'm a business owner, and we have the information, we share it with our clients, we share it with our community, it's fantastic. And you being able to be like, the expert researcher, being able to kind of like pull what needs to be information that's really important for our clients. If I'm a business owner and I'm listening to everything left, right, and center, in your experience in all these years, where do you think I would go? So let's say I'm a small business. I don't know about Search and Rescue yet. Now you know, if you're listening to this podcast. But if I don't have the funds, or if I don't just have the time, like, where do I need to be, like, like laser pointing my focus. Like, where am I supposed to focus if I'm supposed to pick a few things to just even start?
That's great. And I appreciate you asking that, because I do think that, number one, recognize that you're overwhelmed, recognize where you're at, and recognize how much you can actually invest. And what I mean by that is, I've learned over the years that you're either in growth mode or you're in defense mode, but you can't be in both at the same time. So a lot of times people get very defensive of what they think is correct. I've learned in my life that doesn't help me in any way. So to always try to be as best in growth mode. And so the reason why I share that is because if you've had if you're listening to this and you're on your way home or you're on your way to work and you're frustrated already, maybe today's not the day that you're going to want to try to, practice being curious and start researching, because you might get frustrated. But if you're coming home and you're like, wow, this actually really inspires me, I do have a lot of questions. First of all, that's that curiosity right there. You have to practice. That's step one. Practice that curiosity. And actually, let's go back to before step one is something that you mentioned already, which is listening. So every single person that comes through your door, listen. And not just listen to them, but then also act on it by just being kind and starting communication with them. And if you start hearing things, that's all I'm doing after hours as well. And throughout the day is listening. I'm spending time listening, communicating, and I'm starting to get that data that I know is going to help me to be effective. And so now let's just go back to the analogy. So you're driving home, you've had a good day, you're curious, you've heard a lot of things that have been happening, you've written them down. You know that there's about 10 things you keep hearing from your target audience, the people coming into your establishment. Now you're at home, and the easiest thing you can do is Google. That's what I say. Start with Google, something, and a reason why is because it's something that most people already know. And so if you have a question and the question is simple, it's like, I am struggling to engage with my target audience on social media. List 5 things I can do and see what it says. And then from there, you can continually refine. Well, what does it say? If it says 5 things, then maybe rephrase that exact same thing, put it in again. And now it says 5 more things. Well, are you starting to see some similarities? And keep doing that and start realizing, hey, this has already given me 5 new thoughts and ideas of ways that I can implement my business. I wonder if I should just start trying those things. All of this is free. It just took a bit of time. It took a bit of bravery and curiosity, and probably a glass of wine or two. But I will acknowledge that, just be aware where you're at, even emotionally, because it is one of those things that, you remember when we would take a test at school, and I'm going to speak for myself, but it's like, you're stressed out and you're like, it's like, I don't remember anything. And now the years later, I've learned through psychology that, your brain just kind of shuts off. It's much like when you get in an argument with somebody and you'll say things like, you're not even listening. And they've now been able to share, actually, yes, your ears are shutting off in an argument, which is why you want to calm down, stay calm. Even the calming effects of having a warm cup of something in your hand. Do that. So if you're going to go home after a long day, but you're in growth mode, you're excited, and you do want to get some solutions for your business, that's a great way to get started. It's really, really simple. It's free. And if you notice that these things start working, keep expanding. And then if you have questions, I can go into a lot more in-depth areas. And I will say one of the things that I am blessed with is that I do try to communicate as much as possible. I tried to keep this podcast as explain like I'm 5 as possible as well, because I don't want to speak over people. I want to speak with them and spark curiosity in them and a level of courageousness to try things. But I do ask people questions in the same position and role that I'm in, and even higher around the world, what they're experiencing. And well, what was your struggle? So that's another last thing I would say that we can move on to a step is to talk to other like-minded people or other businesses on social, reach out and go, hey, I am struggling. How did you guys do it? And again, if they're, this is even going to that collaborative talk that we had in one of the previous podcasts is, I would offer suggestions and help to other agencies. I've done it in the past and I would easily and gladly do it because I'd like to see them genuinely succeed. So, that's kind of a lengthy answer, but I hope that answers your,
absolutely.
Your question there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thanks for joining me on this one. I know it was kind of me rambling quite a bit on it, but I hope it sheds some light to the business owners out there that there's active tools that they can start doing today that aren't overwhelming, that are at their fingertips. They're free. And if you do have any questions or something comes up, like we mentioned, we are always here at Search and Rescue Marketing Agency. If you shoot us a DM, a comment, if you email us or give us a ring, or even just drop by the head office, every one of us is an open book. We would love to help in any way that we can. So we hope you guys are, so those listening or watching on YouTube, wherever you are, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe. And then we just hope that you guys are doing well. So Ali, you have been awesome and I truly appreciate your time.
Thanks so much. It was great chatting today.
Cheers.